Welcome to the Writing Gals, our podcast. Yay! We're four sweet romance authors staying up late and talking about Christmas romances tonight. So, woohoo! It's all on our brain because Christmas is 2 short months away. But before we do that, we're going to start with what we're doing right now in our publishing journey. So, Victorine, why don't you take us away? Or let's go to Michelle first. Go ahead, Michelle.
I am
Awesome.
recovering. Oh, never mind.
Well, right, and sorry, is my internet frozen?
You're not frozen now. You were for a minute, but
Oh,
I think you're
sorry.
okay now.
I'm using hotel Wi-Fi, so things might be a little wonky for me, but I will hopefully not freeze up too much. So right now I'm in Grand Island, and I'm getting ready to go to the Nebraska Writers Guild Conference tomorrow and the next day. So that's basically what I've been doing the past few days, is getting ready to Bella, and I'm really excited for that to come out soon.
Yay! That Michelle and Victorine are part of an anthology that they're going to be putting out some Christmas stories in. So it's going to be very excited. So stay tuned for a Half of the Writing Gals anthology that you can pick up. So, all right, Michelle, why don't you tell us what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm working on my Christmas novelette too. I'm halfway through it. I'm behind because I was sick for a little while. I'm using that as my biggest excuse. But I hope to have that finished tomorrow and get started on my full-length Christmas. I'm sitting here checking sales all the time because I still have the book in the 30-day new release window. I think it's been out for 3 weeks this Sunday, and it's still doing good. It just now dropped under 1,000, and I haven't done anything to it except like have newsletters going out occasionally. So I've been really happy with how high it stayed, just sitting there doing its thing. And I am looking forward to the next project, after Christmas is done, just trying to figure out, what I'm gonna focus on for the whole next year. And this is an exciting year for me coming up because my daughter's going to be going to school partway through this year, and I'll be writing full time with no kids at home, and just trying to, I don't know, make some wise decisions. And some of these projects for me tend to be longer term because I'm writing multiple books at the same time. So I'm writing fantasy and Regency at the same time as I'm writing contemporary. So that means they take a long time. So I'm having to just plan out my whole schedule for the next 6 months. But it's just all fun because it's all stuff I want to do. So
You're living the dream of no kids at home and being able to write and go to lunch and sit at a cafe and not have kids screaming and yelling. And
I'm on the cusp of the dream.
I'm very far away. So I think I've still got 4 more years. But it sounds exciting. Well, lots and lots of stuff going on in your department, and we're excited that your launch did well. I think that was something you needed, a good win, so we can love your contemporary romance readers for that. All right, Judy, what are you doing?
So I have been busy getting my book, My Second Chance, all ready to be published, and it should go live in just a few hours. So I'm really excited about that. I'm hoping it will do okay. And kind of nervous about this one because it's a contemporary romance about a pregnant teen. So, it's still clean, but it's been scary. So hopefully it'll do okay. But the reviews that I've gotten so far have been really good. So that's been encouraging. And I am also trying to figure out my Christmas book, which has been not cooperating me the last couple of days, but hopefully I can figure it out soon and get it done because it has to be done by the end of the month. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yes, and Judy and I are going to be in a really fun countdown to Christmas group of YA authors. So we're very excited about that. So hers is My Mistletoe
My mistletoe mix-up.
My mistletoe mix-up. And then mine is my Christmas break mistake. So I'm really excited to write that one. And I have just finished Marrying a Spy. It is at my beta reader right now. She'll get it back to me tomorrow or Saturday, and then it will go off to the editor and hopefully released first part of the next week after that. So I'm a week ahead of schedule. So that's exciting. But I was really happy to finish that book. It was painful because I wanted to write Christmas. So now I'm writing Christmas books. So I have one going on right now. Rule number 4, you can't misinterpret a mistletoe kiss. And I'm having a lot of fun writing that one because it's kind of a bad boy sort of story. And the parents in it are very competitive with each other. So I'm just having fun making them do all sorts of ridiculous things. And then I'm doing an adult Christmas novella. So most of these are probably going to be novellas lengths. And then I'm going to do my Christmas break mistake that's going to come out in the first week of December. So lots of Christmas stuff going on, which is why it was perfect for us to talk about Christmas today, because I think a lot of people on the Writing Gals were asking about Christmas romance stories. So I think might be fun before we do that. And just totally is going to make Judy mad because this is not on script. None of this is on script. So, and you can blame me for it because I was supposed to come up with questions and I didn't. What is our favorite thing about Christmas and what is our favorite thing to write about? So like if you were to think of your perfect Christmas story, what would you want inside of it? Because I think their tropes for Christmas are a little different than just like regular romance tropes. So what is like a must-have Christmas trope storyline event that you think is necessary for a Christmas book? And we'll start with Michelle because she's our resident Christmas person. And she wrote the last Christmas book that did amazing. So we're all going to learn at her feet. Go ahead.
It's so funny. I've actually been sitting here writing a list of Christmas tropes.
Nice.
And it's pretty fun. So I think that my favorite Christmas trope is the whole Christmas tree thing. Every single book and every single movie, they all end up decorating Christmas trees together. And it's just it can just be so either like goofy and everything goes wrong, or it can be so beautiful and romantic. And but I think in every single Christmas story, I like it best when the plot revolves around Christmas somehow. That Christmas isn't just thrown in there as like a backdrop. That Christmas somehow is pivotal to the character arc and to what brings them together, and the big story questions all are like it couldn't happen any other time of the year. It has to happen right then. So that is what makes Christmas romances work for me.
Perfect. What about you, Judy?
Well, according to my title of my next book, I think that mistletoe is very important because then you can kind of sneak in a kiss that the characters maybe weren't expecting or hoping for, and a lot of times that can kind of get the romance going. So I love mistletoe.
Yes, and then you can also get side characters forcing people to kiss as well, that they wouldn't normally make each other kiss. So that's awesome. So mistletoe, awesome. What about you, Victorine?
Well, my favorite trope for Christmas stories revolves around one of the characters is really grumpy and doesn't like Christmas. And you see that in a lot of Christmas movies, like on Hallmark, where the other character is trying to get them to like Christmas again. And so that's probably one of my favorites.
Awesome. And I would say for me, I would have to agree with Michelle and the Christmas tree. And I also like just adding a tiny bit of Christmas magic where it doesn't feel like it's not obviously a paranormal or an actual wizardy kind of magic, but there's just, I had my Forgiving the Billionaire is a Christmas one. And I had a taxi driver in there. And I think I remembered Michelle when she was first reading it was like, or Judy or Victorine, she's like, this feels kind of like he's, Ms. Michelle, magical in some way. And I was like, well, no, he's not. But it was kind of gave you that feeling of that kind of magical elf Christmas Santa Claus that kind of comes down and helps fix whatever's going on. So I think that's really, really fun to put in there. And then also Christmas music, just talking about what they're listening to, what they're singing to is a huge one for me as well to put in a Christmas song or in a book is Christmas music. Okay, perfect. Well, there you go. You get our favorite, The Writing Gals, Christmas tropes. And then hopefully maybe if Michelle finishes this list she's making, that we'll post it up on our website so you guys can check it out. Because Michelle looks like she's having a lot of fun doing it. So, okay, let's start with our first question. Are Christmas romances popular with paranormal romance readers? So basically, besides besides contemporary and Regency, are Christmas stories popular in other subgenres of romance? So, Victorine, you look like you know.
Oh no. Boy, I have not seen it done very much. So that's a tough one. I don't know how that would be received actually, because I don't know that I've seen much of that. Has anybody else seen much of that?
No, I have not.
I've seen a few, but I haven't necessarily seen them do well, if that makes sense. I've seen people advertising them, but I just don't think it's what those audiences are looking for. I think if those people want Christmas, they go looking for it in other places, not necessarily to their paranormal romance authors, right? If they stumble on one, they might read it and enjoy it, but usually paranormal has a much greater focus on sort of action, suspense, mystery, like, because of it being in a different world and there being a villain and all these different things, then there's not a whole lot of room to throw Christmas in, if that makes sense. I'm not saying you
It
couldn't
would
do
almost
it.
feel like it became just a side plot instead of the plot. And when you do a Christmas romance, you really want it to focus around the Christmas story, or the
I guess
Christmas is a huge one.
The one that comes to mind that could fall into that category is that I think it was a Hallmark movie where, or maybe it was on Netflix, where the guy was a ghost and they had to solve the mystery behind why he was stuck there at Christmas time. And so that's the only one that I can think of that really did well.
Mhm.
So if you were to twist it like that, maybe.
Yeah. But if you're talking about vampires or shapeshifters or anything like that, I think the only way you can really get away with it is if you had some kind of like a bonus novella come out at Christmas time. It was based on either side characters or an existing character who were just having Christmas together after they finally got together. I think it would be really hard to write a whole book that's focused on Christmas.
Exactly. Perfect.
Unless they're
So-
polar bear shapeshifters, maybe, or like reindeer shapeshifters.
Oh, that would be cool. Oh, there you go. Another trope. Write it down. Okay. All right. Awesome. So Vivi Holt asks, are Christmas romances better with an existing series in a separate Christmas series or standalone? So she's looking for something that will sell all year long. So I have a Christmas book, is My Billionaires. This is the second one is a Christmas book. I did something where you just change the cover, and I'm actually going to really promote it heavily this year as a Christmas book. It sold. I mean, it had a wreath on it and everything. You can't really tell it's super Christmassy, my other cover, but it sold just as well as my other one. So you could definitely throw a Christmas themed book in there, but I would maybe possibly have a non-Christmas title and non-Christmas cover to have it go. And then I would probably have another strong trope that you can pull on. So I was Christmas and billionaire. And so during the rest of the year, I pulled it as a billionaire book. But what about you? What do you think, Judy?
Oh, I disagree. Agree. Sounded like disagree.
I was like, well, fine, then you prove it some other way.
And because like that, and that's what I'm doing. I'm just keeping it as part of my series because I want it to sell more than just in December. So I guess it just kind of depends on what you want to do. If you want it to be just a Christmas thing and you just want all of your energy to go into this Christmas time, then go ahead and make it standalone or make a Christmas series. And it could get really big that way. And I know that they can still sell all throughout the year because I know Michelle's has sold, but maybe not quite as much as it does around Christmas. But for me, I'm putting it in my Ridgewater High series and hoping that my readers will still be interested in it in July because they're like, oh, but I wanted to hear about those characters anyway. So,
Well, and I think if it's part of a series, it will sell through better just because they'll go to the next one. But what do you think, Michelle? Because I think you're going to do something a little different. Why don't you tell us your plan?
Well, so my book that sold well last Christmas it did actually really well through March. I was surprised how well it sold even into March. And then things started slowing down. So instead of selling I think in February, March, I was selling 40 to 50 copies. And by May, June, I was selling 20 a month. And over the summer, it dipped down to 10 to 15, and now it's starting to swing back up again. So it's not tons, but it's surprised, and that's without even factoring all the KU reads. The KU reads would actually add quite a bit on top of that. I didn't take the time to figure that out. But so I'm trying to do two things, and one of them is I'm making that book I wrote last year the first in a series. So every Christmas, my readers will know that I'll be coming out with a new book in that series in that town. But I'm also writing a book for my Billionaire series that's going to be based at Christmas. And that way, it'll just be like a bonus that hopefully, I think that would probably get better read through throughout the year because it's part of a series. It gets read all year long. So it'll be kind of interesting to track the difference between how well the titles sell when it's part of a non-Christmas series and when it's Christmas series only. So maybe this time next year, I'll have more concrete idea on how that's going to work.
All right, we're going to hold you to that. Okay. Another thought I have that I'm planning on doing is writing a Christmas themed book in a lot of my series. And then at once I have 5 or 6 together, put it in Christmas time as a box set. And really promote all 6 books. And they're going to be all different. I mean, there'll be a YA one, there'll be a novella, there'll be a full-length novel. It'll just be all these different Christmas stories that people can put together and read all in one. I'm not to that point yet. I don't have enough of them, but I think that will help a lot. So I would suggest if this is your first Christmas one, I would try to make it part of your current series that you have just to keep that read-through going. And then maybe do like what Michelle does is just start a standalone Christmas and then you add to it every year would be 1, 2. Do you have anything to add, Victorine?
Well, I was just going to say that the one that I wrote is part of my Billionaire series, and it's more Christmas as a backdrop rather than Christmas as an entire theme of the book, but it does sell all year round. I don't know that it's going to sell any better this Christmas season. It actually came out in January, so I have not had it out for a Christmas season yet. But I don't know, maybe it could do a little better just because it's got snow on the cover. I don't know. But I do think writing a novella or something specifically just for a Christmas story will probably do a little bit better during the Christmas season, but maybe not, during the non-Christmas season.
My plan for my Forgiving the Billionaire is I changed the subtitle, or I added a subtitle that says a billionaire Christmas romance. And then I'm going to do a free day on it next month just to kind of push a ton of eyes on it, which will hopefully boost me up into the Christmas peoples. And plus it was the book I wrote last year. So I think a lot of my new readers haven't ever seen it or read it. So I think this will help get people there. Okay, perfect. Is it ever too late to publish them? That's what Kirsten Oliphant asks. I know they're starting to be popular now, but by December, have people read all the ones out and are maybe looking for new ones?
So mine that did well last year, I didn't publish until December. It was sometime in December. And I actually did that on purpose and I'm going to time the sequel to that one this year about the same time. I knew that the Christmas sales would last past Christmas for at least a week or so, really good. So I wanted my book to still be in that 30-day new release window for the whole of the major Christmas push. So I didn't want my book dropping off the new release list, when the Christmas stuff was really amping up. And so that's how I timed mine. But this year I'm going to try and kind of take a scoop out of both months. I'm trying to publish one that's going to go through November because there are a lot of sales in November. November does really well for Christmas books too. So I'm going to try to get a scoop out of both. But I think it's very handy to have Amazon promoting your book during Christmas. And if you publish in November, you're going to lose that advantage. So it's a thought.
I would also say too, if you're going to do a Christmas one, you publish a little early, get your audiobook done as fast as possible. Because I remember Michelle being like, I'm just listening as I'm wrapping presents or shopping or cleaning my house or decorating. I'm just listening to all these Christmas stories. So if you really want to catch those moms who are desperate for Christmas, because we love Hallmark, but some of their movies are not good. And so if you can be like, my story would be way better. So all these moms who want those Christmas joys, will listen to your story.
Well, and that's another good reason why short pieces do really well at Christmas. People don't have tons of time. They like to be able to okay, I'm finally able to sit down in the evening. I'm going to read something really quick. And so just those nice little short stories that they can get through in a few hours do really well at Christmas, I think, because of how busy people are.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Bridget Baker asks, I'd like to make my romance a book in a series, but will that tank my series if the first book is a Christmas romance? We don't know. None of us have a Christmas romance as a first book.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be tricky, wouldn't it? Unless it was a Christmas series. It'd be really hard because I think it would be hard to promote it all year long, right? You want your first book to pull readers into your series. And so that's what you want to be running promos and free days and all that sort of stuff on all year long. And if it's a Christmas book and you're trying to sell it in April and July and September, it's still not that great. It's not going to feed people into your series as well as something else would.
I guess the only thing that maybe you want to take into account is possibly have it be a title that's not super Christmassy. And you could put a Christmas cover on it just for the season and then put a regular cover on it for the rest of the year. Because, Amy's doing that with one of her books that she's got Christmas in it. So that's an idea.
Judy, thanks, Victory. Did you want to say something, Judy?
I was just going to agree with what Michelle was saying. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but yeah. So yeah, I probably wouldn't do it. Unless it was a Christmas series.
I probably wouldn't either. But
I just had a thought. Unless it's like a whole series of holiday-based books. So if you do a Valentine's book and a Halloween book, and which I have seen people do, then that could potentially be, because Christmas probably would sell the best out of all the other holidays. So
yeah, that definitely would. I think as well, in every book, there's going to be tropes. Just pull your two major tropes, if one's Christmas and one's something else. And then during Christmas time, promote the Christmas trope. And during the rest of the year, promote the other trope that it has. Because most books normally have two tropes running through them. So that's what I do. And that kind of answers Rachel John's question when she asks where you do different covers. So
can I ask you a question about that? So are you going to switch it back again after Christmas?
I think so.
Do you think that there's ever going to be a little bit of reader confusion over whether or not they've bought that book before?
Well, it's going to keep the same Amazon page. So Amazon will tell them that they've bought it before.
Okay.
So possibly, but they wouldn't be able, they could download it twice through KU and then be like, oh, wait a minute, I already read this, and then put it back. Or it's the same title. So maybe it's a different couple this time too. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they'll get mad. Maybe they won't.
I'm just curious. Well, it's not so much like, I think it's a little bit different than changing your cover once, so that's what I was asking. So I think it's different than rebranding, like permanently and I mean, it's just kind of an experiment, right? To see how it does. And it could be brilliant, for sure. I'm just really curious about the reader side of it, especially, for your fan base.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be interesting to see. I'll be watching.
I'll be the guinea pig. I'll volunteer. And then we'll go from
I'm
there.
doing the same thing too. I'm keeping my Christmassy cover on until like February 1st. That's when I can switch it again based on this group that we're doing. But mine will have the same legs. They'll just be a little less Christmassy looking.
Mm-hmm. I'll look a little more like your current series. Mine is a completely on its own standalone book, so I'm okay with keeping it the way it looks. And then later on changing it maybe if I decide to write more in that series. Okay, so is it worth doing a Christmas novel? Novellas seem to be most popular. And Michelle kind of covered that. But Judy, I know you were going to write a novella, and now in Judy's lovely fashion, it is not a novella. So why don't you tell us, what do you think about that?
Well, for me, I have never written a novella. I like to write long books. And so for me, since it is part of my series that is all like 70 to 75,000 word books, I wanted it to still be as long because that's just what I like to do. And it's also not like a major focus on Christmas. Like Christmas is in there and they do Christmassy things. But the main story, like the main trope, is not Christmas for mine. So I guess we'll see how it does. But that's just what I wanted to do. If I can finish it in time, all 70,000 words. So it might be shorter. We will find out.
Well, and I think you shouldn't sacrifice your readers' expectations or your book just to make it shorter. I mean, if your story plot requires a longer story, then do that. Don't just be like, no, this needs to be a novella, so they're just going to kiss and get married, and I don't care if it doesn't really make sense. So, yeah, perfect. Did anyone else want to weigh in on that, or can we move to the next question?
Longer books bring more KU pages.
I know, that's a painful thing that Michelle had to realize with her last novella book.
Sadly.
That's why I write longer ones, because I'm like, I don't have to get quite as many people to download it, but I'll still get lots of page numbers.
And it's amazing. And it's good because it means everybody's reading all the way to the last page.
Yeah.
Okay, so one's about kisses. So we'll move on. We'll finish the Christmas ones because I think kisses might require a whole podcast on their own. What are suggested price points for Christmas novellas and novels? Does anybody, Michelle, I know you launched yours at 99 cents when you did it.
Yeah, but I'm trying to play with the big girls and launch at a higher price possibly. I don't know. So I think my billionaire one that I'm putting out in November, I'm going to go ahead and still do at 99 cents because it's going to be around 30,000 and be sort of like a bonus title, if that makes sense. It's not going to, I don't know, be the same length or whatever as the others in the series. But I'm kind of hoping to maybe do the sequel to Sawdust and Mistletoe, which I'm still trying to decide which one I'm writing. It's either going to be Snowfall and Mistletoe or Sugar Plums and Mistletoe. One of them at $2.99. I'm thinking, yes, I'm thinking. I'm going to be brave. I'm going to be brave and try it. But I think they're so popular, people will read them at any price point, really. 99 cents. It's the same as any other launch strategy. I mean, it depends on your fan base, how strong you are at launching your book. And if you need to do the slow launch to attract readers, then 99 cents is going to do really well for you. But if you can pull in the big guns, then go for the bigger price point. And we'll find out if I have any big guns, maybe in a couple months.
Yeah, for me, I'm doing it at $2.99, and then depending on how my book that's launching tomorrow, I'm doing that one at $2.99 for like 5 days, and then I'm going to raise it to $3.99. So if that one does okay at that price, then I'll probably do the same with my Christmas one. So just depends on your fans and what they expect and how loyal you think they are.
I'm a big believer in watching what the successful authors are doing. And so I would say if you're wondering what price to put things at, look what the successful authors are doing and see all the top Christmas romances. What are they priced at? And that's what I would do.
Awesome. Yeah, I would agree with that too. I would say play around with it and pretty much treat it like any other book, and just launch it and put it out there and just do what you can those first couple of weeks to get as many eyes on it, to get into the Amazon algorithm, and then let it work for itself. And I think a lot of the promo sites probably want to start promoting more Christmas books, because I think that's what a lot of people are going to be looking for. So just always be cognizant, and you can't just put a book up and not do anything with it. You actually, you have to market it. You're going to have to get newsletter swaps for it. And there's a lot, if you go on any, probably like Book Funnel, there's a lot of people out there that say, let's do a Christmas promo. Let's all do it at 99 cents. And then we'll all send to our newsletters and we'll get as many, people on it and downloading. So there's lots of places that you can join to help get more visibility for your Christmas book. Okay, so that's all our Christmas questions, because some of them we kind of answered as we were talking. So I think we should just do, since there's a lot of kissing in Christmas books because of mistletoes, I think we need to just define what a sweet kiss book is. So how deep do you go in a kiss?
And things now will get totally fun. Watch for the double entendres to come out.
They're all like, oh, okay, now we're done with Christmas. Yeah, let's talk about kisses. We're not going to go super in depth on how we write kiss scenes, but I think talking, because it seemed like a lot of question was like, I'm at the end of my story. This one says, yay, that will happen at the end of the novel. I'm guessing no tongue, right? So let's talk about what makes a kiss scene sweet and what doesn't. So who wants to start?
I think. Oh, did you want to say something, Victorine? Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jenny.
Okay. Well, we always kind of discuss this in our messenger thing of like, how far can we go? Because I like to get right up to the line, and yeah. But for me, I guess so far I have not added tongue. I had it in and then I took it out, and I don't have them take off each other's clothes.
Okay, sorry. You said I had it in and then I took it out. I just watched Michelle laugh. She took it out of her story, Michelle. Her story.
This is my favorite discussion ever.
Yeah. And I don't know what I was saying. So go ahead. Someone else.
I definitely would say no tongue if it's a sweet romance. I would say you can maybe imply it if you say something like she tasted like cherry lip balm or something like that. But I would definitely not describe a French kiss in a sweet romance. But romances are more about the emotions than about physical stuff. And so I would definitely include a lot of emotion and a lot of buildup to the kiss, because the actual kiss probably isn't going to last very many paragraphs in a sweet romance. But the buildup can actually last a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, the buildup is the most important part, in my opinion. If there's no
Exactly.
buildup, I don't care about the kiss. So
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and also I guess maybe mine aren't quite sweet because I've had the characters lift the back of their shirt or whatever and touch their skin, barely in the kiss. So I know that's as far as I've ever taken it. But
I was gonna say, I think that there's a bigger spectrum in the sweet and clean category than there is in steamy. I think in steamy, most of the kisses are pretty much just full force, anything goes. And I think in clean and wholesome, especially, there can be a whole range. And if you're writing inspirational or Christian romance, then there's very likely to be one very understated, very vaguely described kiss, And then there's a lot of kisses that tend to be more towards Judy's side on this theme, and where things are, just really starting to become passionate and to start moving from that emotional stage into the sexual tension stage. And all of us have to know where we're okay, where our readers are okay with us going, and how far. And I found for my readers and my audience, they really like to have a little bit of steam, but they don't want me to take it too far, which I haven't. But they really like that they can feel that all of those emotions and all that attraction is definitely churning in the kiss, but it's not being described. And I think it's how descriptive you are. And there are ways of writing a kiss to where the reader might imagine that their, shirts are coming up a little bit, as Judy was describing, but you're not actually saying it in words, like you don't have to describe anything happening. But I would say any kind of groping is out, any kind of signals or bodily signs that people are aroused are out. I would beg you to not have their mouths watering, which I have read, and I personally don't enjoy when I read that.
Yeah.
But
and don't have them eat like really garlicky or gross pizza right before they make out, because then you're like, how do their breaths not stink? Or wake up in the morning and then kiss. You're like, no.
Yeah. I'd be just as aware of your character's breath as you are of your own. Just be that way.
Yeah.
And I think that it's almost better sometimes if I think it's better if your kisses can increase through your book. Like if they can increase in intensity throughout your book. So we don't have a whole lot of kisses in Sweet Romance. We don't have, like make them count, but make sure that they're growing, and that as their emotions are growing, as their love is deepening, that the kisses are changing. And that's what I think makes kisses the most impactful, is that, those first kisses are maybe going to be about, oh, it's the first time that they're touching, that they're in each other's space, that they're this close and sharing breath. All those things have a huge impact on them. But the next kiss is going to take it to a deeper level. But all of a sudden, the emotions are so much deeper and so much more involved. And there might also be a whole lot of, worry or hesitancy or pain in there, because they know that things aren't working out and something's about to tear them apart. I mean, like, just build into each of these kisses the growth of the character and of the plot, and don't just start, it's not like, I feel like you shouldn't be able to take a kiss scene from this chapter and plug it into this chapter and then work independently. I really feel like kisses are not like drop into place, that they really need to be built on what's going on in the story at that particular moment.
I agree. I think I played with some of this line. This is my last book in Marrying a Spy. We took a class at Midwest, and she said something that I had never really even thought about as a sweet romance author. But, when you're kissing, you get kind of warm and you want to take something off. And I was like, I think I'm going to try and take something off in this kiss scene. Now, so my main character was in a major car accident and was scarred on his chest. And they were best friends growing up, and then they split apart, and now he's come back. And she notices his scars at first, and he doesn't want to talk about it. And then they're kissing, and she wants to feel his scars. So she takes off his shirt. And so it's kind of steamy, but it had a purpose. And I think there was more. Victorine does not look like she believes me at all. She's like, what, Amy? You did what? But
and I'm like, yeah.
But to me, it had an emotional significance because he had been so hesitant about talking about it. And it was a part of his past that he was hiding. And then he was letting her in, sort of, in a way. So I don't know. We'll see how my readers feel about it. Obviously, they don't go anywhere from there. And he puts his shirt back on. But to me, it was a significance in their character growth of showing their trust to the other person. So, I don't know.
One thing that's really interesting is that two things I want to say. The first is that sometimes you give cues to the reader and you don't realize that they're going to take them the way they did. And so that's where it's really good to have like your editor or your beta readers or people like, whoa, this is steamy. I was like, what is steamy about this? Like in my mermaid book, they were kissing underwater. And I had their legs sliding together because they were underwater and they were wet. And everybody was like, whoa, Michelle, like that's super steamy. And I was like, really? I mean, yeah, but I mean, like, people were reacting to it like crazy. That one line, I was like, okay, well, I don't want things to be that steamy, or especially at this point in the story. So I ended up taking it out, even though I really liked it, because it just wasn't what I wanted to be happening in that scene. And people were reacting much stronger than I thought they would. So, I mean, that's going to play a role. It's always going to be interesting, the physical cues that you're giving people. And I think you need to be aware that girls wrapping their legs around the guy, either standing up or sitting down or on the couch. I mean, you might think that you're keeping it clean, but that's not clean. It's not.
Oh, well, I have that a lot in my books, but I haven't had anyone complain because I read it in Casey West and I was like, she did it, I'm going to do it.
But the thing is you can do it, but you know that's taking it to the passion side of the kiss. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It just is.
It doesn't last long and it's done very, very shortly, but
yeah,
I haven't had anyone complain. So be careful with how you do it.
I mean, you just have to be aware that, you know, there are certain things that are going to amp your kiss up towards the emotional side or towards the hormonal, you know, sexual tension side. And you just need to be careful that how much of each you're putting in and how far you take it, because that's where your kisses are going to start really moving up the steamy scale, as if you start doing things like that.
And
another thing.
Oh, so
good. Go ahead, Victory.
Well, I was just going to say, if you normally write steamy and you're trying to write a sweet Christmas romance just for the season, definitely do what Michelle said and get some beta readers who read sweet stuff and get their reactions, just to make sure you're in that sweet realm.
Yeah. And I was going to say another thing a lot of people don't think about is how important the setting is for how steamy your kiss is going to be. So if they're kissing on the front porch where the whole neighborhood can see them, then, you know, you can probably take it a little bit further without it getting too passionate. But if they're in somebody's bedroom, you got to be really careful, because that's the kind of thing that can go, you know, too far too quickly, or can imply a whole lot of things just by the fact that they're in a bedroom that another setting wouldn't imply. And one thing that I actually like to do, so I had my couple kiss in a hotel room in Trust of the Billionaire, and I only got away with it in my mind to where I wanted to take things, because I kept his bodyguard in the room. You know, someone else was in the room with them. And that for me kind of puts a limit on how far I can take things, because somebody else is there, you know? And so I don't have the readers, are they going to go further? I don't want the readers questioning, are they going to go all the way in this moment? Because for me, once the reader starts wondering if they're going to, then I think I might be making readers nervous, if you know what I'm saying. And I might also be making promises that I'm not wanting to make. And I also don't want my readers asking, okay, well, why didn't they? You know, so for me, I need to make sure that I'm always sending the signal to the reader that yes, things are amping up and they're getting closer together, but they're not going to take it too far. That's just something that I do with my own stories.
And we discussed this with Soraya Wilson after the podcast last week. And I think if you do have them, let's say they're, you know, camping and they stay in the same tent, if you have them in the same room, so I went back because I have them, because he can't sleep. He has nightmares. And I wanted to show that once they finally admitted their feelings, then he could sleep. So he sleeps with her in the room. And I just basically point blank was like, he's like, I want to wait for our wedding night. So I just said it. And I was like, now there's no question in anyone's mind what's going to happen. And sure, you're going to get people who are like, well, that's not realistic. No guy would ever say that. But I'm like, it's realistic in my world and I'm okay with saying it. And sometimes your readers just need to know, okay, they're not going to go that far. I'm comfortable with reading farther.
Yeah, that's what I always do too. I always have the characters kind of state their morals and where they plan to stay or go, and then I stick with it. They might get like tempted, and there's a moment where they're like, oh, but maybe, but then I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. So
well, and I think too, when you're kissing and you focus on the emotion and not on body parts, that really states what it is. It's a sweet romance. Once you start, besides like chest for a guy, like shoulders and neck, those are pretty much like cool zones that girls can touch. That's going to be a sweet zone. Guys, it's her back, her face,
her arms,
probably her neck, maybe her arms. Yeah, that he can touch. Those are cool zones. If you start talking about grabbing other parts of the body, now we're moving into spicy romances. If you actually have to say the words, you know, she grabbed his butt, like, okay, now we're going into more. So if you stay in the cool zones, I think even like, what if you're on the beach and it's two people in swimsuits? The guy's obviously going to be bare chested. She's going to touch his chest and his I mean, we talk about them feeling the muscles under the shirt. So, but those are cooler zones. Those aren't zones that are going to amp up and mean anything. So as long as I think you keep to talking about those zones of the body, which is like my whatever it's called.
Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Just kidding.
Yes, that too. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. That's what you can touch, nothing else. So I think if you keep to those zones, then you should be okay. And you can talk about, you can talk about touching. Don't think that this has to be a peck and then move out. Like you can do, but what are we focusing on? If you're using more body parts than you are emotions, then you're probably moving into spicy. If you're using more emotions than body parts, then you're probably where you need to be.
Yeah. And the best thing you can do really is to just read a bunch of sweet romance kisses to get an idea of what they're doing and how far they're going, and just do what they're doing. That's what I've always done. So.
And to talk about not doing tongue, we just say they deepen the kiss, and then you can go from there how you wanted to deal with that. So I think studying them, what vernacular do they use, how do they describe things, I think is going to really help benefit you. But you don't have to be so like I was going to say, you don't have to be so clean, and you want to be clean, but you don't have to be boring about your kiss. Be good. Like you said, the buildup is amazing. Having almost kisses are the best because you're like, oh, they're going to kiss. And no, they're not. I'm going to push them apart. Now you have to wait. So it's all of that anticipation. The buildup is what's going to make you have a satisfying kiss scene. And normally it's my middle kiss scene that's the best, and I put the most effort in. The makeup kiss scene at the end of the story, not so much, because they've already declared their love for each other. So there's no tension, there's no conflict anymore. They kiss, they say they love each other and they care about each other and they're going to marry each other, and then the story ends. So I would say if you're going to do it in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So right. My daughter has been reading a book. She's 13, and she's been reading a lot of young adult stuff, a lot of dystopian stuff. Anyway, so she was on the last chapter of her book this morning, right before she left for the bus, and she just slammed the book shut. And she's like, "Oh, that makes me so mad." I was like, "What?" She said, "I've been reading this book for 3 days, and they just get a peck at the end."
I wonder if certain book that I'm thinking of, because I was so mad too. I'm like, and they kissed, and that's all it said. I'm like, no,
yeah.
not
she
all.
was like,
come
what?
on.
Was it one where they kiss like the cheek and the mouth, like it was like a peck, where it's like just like this misplaced?
Oh,
I don't know.
I don't know. In the one that I read, I think
so
it just said, and they kissed, and I was like,
oh no,
that's stupid. No,
I hate that.
You built that all up. I loved everything until then. I'm like, no.
That's the worst. Yeah, don't say "and they kiss." That is the worst travesty of telling versus showing ever. Like, all the times to not tell.
Because romance readers read for the kiss.
For
At least I do. That's why I read. Like I want it to be
You'll
good.
put up with the other 500 pages of a dystopian paranormal something or other.
Yeah, as long as I get a
Or
good
the
kiss that I'll
kiss.
want to read over a few times, I'm good.
Yeah. And at the same time, she's just started reading my mermaid book. And it's kind of got this funny thing where because she's a siren, there's like attraction and kisses at the beginning that are not based on real emotions yet, right? And those have to develop through the book. And it's kind of like a whole big point. But anyway, she was like, Mom, that kiss just wasn't that good. And I was like, what are you talking about? She goes, it didn't give me the jumpy feeling. And I thought that was so cool. I was like, the jumpy feeling. Because that is what romance readers want, is they want that butterfly feeling, that charge of like romantic excitement that you always get when it's like the first kiss with somebody. You want to relive that over and over and over and over again every time you pick up a book. And that's what we're trying to do. And so I had to assure her, I was like, it's okay because they don't really love each other yet. So when they do, then you'll get that jumpy feeling, you know. It's like, okay. But that's what we have to remember is that we're trying to give them all those emotions and let them live vicariously through our characters. Because as much as we might love our significant others and enjoy kissing them, you know, there is something special about the first time we kiss them, right? And you only get to kiss them for the first time one time.
Dang it.
And romance lets you experience those first time butterflies over and over and over again.
Well, and I think back too to like movies I've watched where it's like the build up, and then the last kiss is so weird or awkward. And you're like, okay, these actors need to learn how to kiss better because that is so not a satisfying kiss, what they just did. What was that? Like, you're almost just like, I just hate this movie now because the kiss they did was just awful. So make sure that you study good kiss scenes and watch what they're doing with their hands and their bodies. And do they pull back a little to study the person? Do they kiss them again? Do they pull them close? All those sorts of things.
Oh, Amy, that reminds me of the Studio C horrible kiss.
I'm going to have to watch that. Sounds
Did you see
amazing.
that Studio C with the yes and oh my gosh.
Oh no, she froze again. Poor Victorine.
We do have some questions on our channel.
All right, go ahead. Oh, she's cutting out. Does somebody want to jump on our channel real quick and see?
Sorry, I'm in Wi-Fi.
Okay, we're good. You can see
Am
you
I
now.
unfrozen?
Yeah, you're okay.
All right.
Oh, no.
Okay. We have no. All right. Someone's gonna have to do it
Okay.
because I'm cutting out.
I can do it. No problem. What?
Okay.
Yes,
You're good.
me?
Yes,
Go?
yes, you do it. Go, Michelle.
I'm
Go.
going. Okay. So, Richard wants to know, is a CPC for Amazon ads during Christmas time significantly higher than any other time of the year? I have no idea, so someone else has to answer.
I wouldn't think so. And CPC is based on if Amazon ads about your bid and if you outbid somebody else, right, Judy?
Yeah, I don't think it's any higher.
So I think unless everyone started saying, okay, we're going to make ours $1 and then all you low people aren't going to get anything, that's the only way they would go up higher. We do know after Christmas and January are the best for sales because everybody's trying out their Kindles and wanting to download more books. So there's always the Christmas bonus for writers after Christmas that we like.
December 26th is amazing. I can't wait.
I know. I have like
Better than
way
Christmas.
more books out this time too.
Yeah.
So perfect.
That's when Christmas comes for us, is December 26th, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Craig wants to know what our favorite Christmas romance is. His is Hitched for the Holidays with Joey Lawrence. You guys want to say what your favorite Christmas romance is? Okay, I'll start. This is gonna be so funny because so much of this movie is cheesy, but it's seriously like my must watch every Christmas now. It's a Hallmark movie called The Most Wonderful Time of the Year, and it's got Winkler. What's his name? The guy who played the Fonz. You know?
Henry
Okay.
Winkler?
Yeah. So he's in it. Okay. So the reason I love this movie is I love the male actor in it, and he is actually who I based my my hero in my first ever book that I ever published, which was A Christmas Romance. I based it on this guy in this movie. And for that reason, it's going to be my all-time favorite. And it's just got some really funny moments and some just swoony moments in it too. He's got these really great like dimple things. Anyway, that's mine. Anybody else?
I'll go if I have internet. Let's see. One of my favorites is really cheesy. It's called Holiday in Handcuffs, and it's a fake boyfriend trope. And she basically handcuffs this guy and brings him home and tells her parents he's her boyfriend. And it's really cheesy, but it's really funny.
Okay, so mine, I have a few favorites. I really like Serendipity. It just reminds me of like college for some reason. So I really like that about it. And then I love While You Were Sleeping and The Holiday. That's good. So
Okay, so there was one, I watched a lot of the Netflix ones last year, and some of them were not good. But there was one that I watched that had Haley Duff in it, and he was a DJ. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Which one I'm talking about? Do you know the name of it? Oh my gosh. So that one was literally the best romance story. I loved it. They had a great kiss. They had great chemistry. I loved the main character guy. He was awesome. So I think out of all the ones I watched, and I watched a lot of them, that one was my favorite in terms of a romance story. I was trying to look it up, but you guys got
is it Christmas Bell? I think.
Yes, maybe that's, yeah. Does it say he's a DJ? And he has to like go to like, oh, he like, everyone gets mad at him because he's kind of like a bad kid or he's kind of something. And so they make him go somewhere to do some like PR work or something like that.
Oh wait, or is it Naughty?
That's on my trope list.
Naughty and Nice? Is that one might be it too?
I think that's the one. That's it. Let me look. I'm going to look her up and then see what her filmography. So we can go to the next question.
Yeah, Naughty and Nice says there's a cynical radio host is banished to Colorado.
Yes.
So
yes.
That's probably it.
That one is the best. It has the Amy Meyer stamp of approval on that movie. Watch that movie. It's good.
So I have movie star / singer who's lost themselves. They have to find themselves at Christmas. That's what's on my trope list.
Yay! I'm excited to read this trope list. This is going to be awesome.
I know. It's like
I know.
it's like I'm sitting. I mean it because as I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh yeah, like this and this and this and this, and I'm getting all excited. I'm like, let's watch like movies and let's read books. It's so exciting.
Okay.
So,
Perfect.
Trope's awesome. But that's all the questions we had on YouTube channel. And if everybody on the YouTube channel is mad because they can't see my trope list, tough toothpaste. No, I'm just kidding.
You should just read it to
school.
us really quick. Give us a
You
sneak.
want me to read it really fast?
Yes,
Okay.
I want to know.
It's a work in progress. But I have Mistletoe Kisses, Walks in the Snow, Small Town. I mean, so tropes are building blocks. So sometimes they're all characters, but tropes can also be certain things that need to happen. So a lot of these are tropes of things that need to happen in the story. So Small Towns, Tired of City Life, Making Cookies, Snowball Fights, Building Snowmen, Travel Gone Wrong. So there's all kinds of travel gone wrong tropes, stories. Saving the Town, Finding Yourself. The whole town chips in to help the character. Small Town versus City. Decorating Trees, Gingerbread Competitions, Christmas Lights, Scrooges, which is kind of what Victory was referring to. Getting Snowed In. staying at inns or resorts, Christmas pageants, hard to get gifts, charity work, carolers, Christmas tree lots. Okay. I have 2 lists. This is for professions that people tend to have in Christmas books. And I just started this one, so it's not very long yet. Working Christmas tree lots, parade directors, home designers, mall marketers, window dressers, bakers, jaded businessmen, lost movie stars or singers, Santa Claus impersonators, and royals like princesses and stuff like that. There's also a lot of fashion designer ones. I mean, I'm just gonna like go on and on and on. But yeah, so there's certain ones that just always seem to be used like all the time. Like bakers are all the time, and that just kind of works. But why are so many of them about like interior design people? Like
I don't know, Michelle. Why are they?
so many of them. Because you gotta decorate your house for Christmas. Uh-oh, did I put that in sawdust and mistletoe? Oh yes, I totally did.
Awesome. Oh, that sounds amazing. I'm like, I want to write all those stories. You need to
Yeah.
write all of them.
You need to write a story with like 20 tropes in it because it's like not just character tropes I'm putting down. Yeah.
It's going to be exciting. I think me and Judy need to get together and write a YA trope list as well so that we can have like an all-inclusive Writing Gals website where every information you could ever want to know is on it.
Mindy Strunk and I actually started a Regency trope list too.
Awesome.
We should
Yeah.
have just like the master trope list somewhere.
Yeah.
Pick your genre, pick your category, find your tropes.
And then write.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. I think we are done for the night. I think if you guys want more in-depth discussion about kissing, we could always do that as well. Or you could just listen to us talk about how to write kiss scenes over and over and over again. Next week, we're very excited. We're going to have Jennifer Nielsen on our podcast. She's going to be the keynote speaker at the Dallas conference in February, where Michelle and Victorine and possibly me will be there teaching or hanging out and just having a lot of fun. So Jennifer Nielsen, she is a YA dystopian author, and she's a New York Times bestseller, right? Yeah. And
Yeah,
she's
she did
traditionally
The
published.
False Prince, which was really big. And now it's The Traitor's Game is a pretty big one right now.
Yes. And she was the one that taught the class last year about the what was it called? The breakout
The breakout novel. Mm-hmm.
So she'll be on, and we will start taking questions for her sometime around Wednesday or Thursday of next week. So think about anything you want to know, or go check her out and see her books, and then think of questions to ask her, because we're very excited. And we actually have a really awesome lineup for some more authors coming on in November. So we're excited, and we're excited you're here. So everybody have a good night, and thanks for staying up late.